Luffy and Zoro are not just the strongest members of the crew, but also the funniest duo on board. There are countless hilarious moments between them, making it hard to choose the best ones. In this video, however, I've compiled 5 of the most entertaining moments featuring Captain Luffy and his first mate, Zoro. Welcome to today's video. We're diving into some of the most hilarious moments between Luffy and Zoro, the heart and soul of comedy on the Straw Hat crew. From their wild misadventures to their unforgettable banter, we'll be counting down 5 iconic scenes that perfectly capture their chaotic and entertaining dynamic. So, sit back, relax, and get ready to laugh. From the start of One Piece, one thing has been evident. Zoro's sense of direction is absolutely terrible. This becomes hilariously obvious in one of the early episodes when Zoro wasn't even officially part of the Straw Hat crew yet. In episode 4, Zoro opens up to Luffy about his past as a pirate hunter. He explains that hunting pirates isn't something he does for fun, but rather because his true goal is to find Dracul Mihawk, the legendary swordsman. However, as you might expect, Zoro completely lost his way in the process. Yes, that's right, he set out to sea in search of Mihawk and ended up lost in the middle of nowhere. The comedic moment comes when Luffy casually asks Zoro if he got lost, and Zoro nearly flips the ship in frustration. Just picture it. One of the world's greatest swordsmen, feared by many, who could fight any pirate head-on, unable to navigate his way back home. The funniest part is that since that moment, Zoro has never been able to return to his village. He became a true wanderer, roaming the seas and hunting pirates, not by choice, but because he simply couldn't navigate his way back. This raises an amusing idea. Zoro alone on a boat in the vast ocean, completely at the mercy of fate. With his sense of direction, it's entirely plausible that he may have stumbled across the One Piece itself without even realizing it. Imagine the irony. While everyone is desperately searching for the world's greatest treasure, Zoro might have found it purely by accident, only to head off in the wrong direction as usual. What makes this moment even more memorable is the contrast between Zoro and Luffy. While Luffy, impulsive as he is, has a clear sense of purpose and a knack for moving forward, Zoro is constantly trying not to get lost at every turn. Another unforgettable moment occurs when Luffy and Zoro reunite in the legendary land of Wano, a place celebrated for its swords and samurai culture. Of course, Luffy couldn't resist the opportunity to mess around with a katana, and that's when the chaos begins. While visiting Kozuki Sukiyaki's house, Luffy, as always acting without a second thought, grabs the legendary Nidai Kitetsu. This is no ordinary sword, it's one of the 21 Owazamono swords, forged by the renowned swordsmith Kitetsu and considered incredibly rare and powerful. Even though Luffy has no clue how to use a sword, he couldn't resist wielding such a legendary weapon. When Zoro finally sees him, his attention is immediately drawn to the blade in Luffy's hands. Zoro, with his natural swordsman's instinct, instantly recognizes that this is no ordinary sword. His eyes light up, and without hesitation, he asks Luffy to let him inspect it. As expected, Luffy refuses outright in his usual stubborn manner, saying he won't hand over the sword even if Zoro begs. The funny part is that, despite knowing Luffy has no knowledge of swords, Zoro is clearly annoyed, but has no choice but to accept his captain's decision. Among the countless funny scenes in One Piece, one particularly stands out, when Trafalgar Law pokes fun at Zoro's infamous inability to navigate. This moment, which happens during the reconstruction of Zo Island, is a prime example of Zoro's hilariously bad sense of direction. Zoro was doing an excellent job cutting wood with precise craftsmanship, showcasing his incredible sword skills. However, the problem arose when, after finishing the task perfectly, Zoro somehow managed to lose track of everyone else. Trafalgar Law, known for his serious demeanor, couldn't believe it. He approached Zoro and sarcastically asked if the swordsman had truly managed to get lost all by himself. The scene is comedy gold as Law points out something everyone already knows: Zoro's hopeless sense of direction. The funniest part? Zoro doesn't even try to explain himself. He just accepts the situation with his usual nonchalant expression, as though it's perfectly normal to get lost in even the simplest situations. Both Luffy and Carrot burst into laughter, Kaft, unable to contain themselves as they watch one of the world's most feared warriors get roasted for his navigation skills. During the Onigashima arc in Wano, the chaos reached a new level, especially with Zoro and Luffy. Their mission was straightforward: climb to the next floor of Onigashima to confront Kaido, who was already fighting the Red Scabbards. But as always, nothing is ever straightforward when Zoro is involved. Luffy's mistake? Trusting Zoro to lead the way. Yes, the very same Zoro who has gotten lost on numerous islands. Predictably, it didn't take long for them to get separated. Completely disoriented, the pair had no idea where the other was, and the confusion only grew. To fix the situation, Luffy and Zoro decided that the best course of action was to smash through everything in their path. Destroying whatever stood in front of them, they advanced the only way they knew how, through brute force. When all else fails, this duo always resorts to chaos. One final moment that perfectly encapsulates Luffy and Zoro's dynamic is when Luffy, out of curiosity or sheer distraction, gets his finger stuck in a bottle. Instead of trying to solve the problem logically, he turns to Zoro for help. True to his nature, Zoro immediately suggests cutting off Luffy's finger with his sword. What makes this moment hilarious is how casual Zoro is about it. He acts as though slicing off the finger is the simplest and most reasonable solution. Eventually, Luffy manages to free his finger without Zoro's help. But Zoro, unfazed, asks in his usual deadpan tone why Luffy even bothered to take his finger out. That's all for today's video. These moments show why Luffy and Zoro are not just legendary fighters, but also the ultimate comedic duo. If you enjoyed reliving these hilarious highlights, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to stay tuned for more One Piece fun. See you in the next video. Stay adventurous.